We're going to talk about one mistake that is the hardest for first-time homebuyers to overcome. And not just first-time homebuyers, but homebuyers in general. This is the one mistake that if you don't learn how to recognize it and how to overcome it, it can really end up costing you in the long run and in the short term as well. So have you ever gotten excited about something, a purchase or going on a trip or doing something with some friends that you've been waiting a long time for, really looking forward to? And that thing that you're so excited about drives your every thought. It drives your decision making. Well, we're going to talk about emotions of home buying and how those emotions can end up working against you. Now, home buying should be a happy experience. It should be something that you enjoy, something that you're excited to and look forward to. However, there are a lot of emotions wrapped up in home buying. And if you don't get a proper bead on those emotions, it can end up taking you down a path that you don't want to go or making a decision that's not in your best interest. So when I purchased my first home, I was serving in the Navy at the time, and I was not that aware of the emotional aspect of home buying. I grew up in a household where my parents have been homeowners for a long time. My dad has been working in the real estate industry for longer than I've been alive. My mom has been in it for over 30 plus years. So I've come from a real estate background. However, when I came to purchasing my first home, this was one aspect that wasn't really taught to me. It's one aspect that a lot of people end up learning in sort of a trial by fire phase, where you get ready to purchase a home and all of a sudden you're hit with the wave of emotions of, I'm looking for my first home. And then you look at oh, wow, this is going to cost a lot of money. And then you get into you guys need all these documents, you guys being the mortgage loan officers that you're working with, that are going to ask for everything under the sun, from your social security card to driver's license to your employment information, your firstborn, everything. So when it came time for me to purchase my first home, there were emotions that were different than what a lot of people might experience for their first time purchasing a home. See, I purchased my first home in California, but I'm originally from Georgia, and the home prices in California are a lot different than what they are in Georgia, a lot higher. But also, the style of homes are a lot different than what I was used to growing up in Georgia. And so I was used to rooms being a little bit bigger. I was used to AC, which when you're purchasing in some areas in Southern California, a lot of homes don't have air conditioning. And so there are some things that I had to get used to, which, kind of took away a little bit from the excitement that I would have otherwise experienced had I been purchasing closer to what my expectations would be. But one of the things that did show up was my frugality, or at least my frugal mindset. I tend to err more on the side of being very conscious in what I'm spending money on and how much I'm spending. And home prices are obviously more in California than what they are in Georgia. And so that drove a lot of my decision making in terms of the emotional aspect or tie that I felt to, this is a lot of money that I'm going to have to spend. And then I'd see some houses that were nicer and may have done a little bit better for my wife and I, but the price tag was a little bit higher, and that was driving me away from what could have been a better decision. Fast forward to me purchasing my second home back in Georgia now, and it was a different type of emotion. I still had that frugal mindset. However, there was also this inability for me to be able to see beyond what I was currently going to be paying for the home to what that home was actually going to be worth even a short time into the future. So I purchased my next home a little bit before the pandemic, and there were a lot of homes being sold because the market in the real estate market was ramping up before the pandemic even hit in 2020. So a little bit before the pandemic is when I purchased my next home, and home prices were still heading up. There were still a lot of bidding wars. We actually lost out on 4 other properties prior to getting the home that we live in now. And so there was a lot of emotion tied into, oh, we lost out on other properties. We're having to bid above asking price to try to get these properties, but even that's not something that's helping us to win these deals. And so the emotion that really set in for me when it came to purchasing my current home is one of I'm having to put so much money above asking price to get this house. Is it even worth it? And I couldn't see the long term because of the emotional tie of the short term of the money that I'm having to spend. In hindsight, it was what we had to go above the asking price is minuscule compared to what the house is worth now. Because years after the fact, it has appreciated so much more. And also, when we purchased, interest rates were a lot lower than what they currently are now. So we had that benefit as well, even if we had to go even higher above asking price. The fact that we were able to get in to a house when we were able to get in, we were very blessed and fortunate to be able to, get in at a lower interest rate. And even though we had to pay above asking, the home itself is now worth much more than what we had to pay for it. And so the emotions and everything that I was feeling then were very much something that could have blinded me or obstructed me or led me down a path that would have had me making a decision that was not in me or my family's best interest. And so it ended up being a great decision that was not deterred by all of the emotions that I was feeling leading up to us actually closing on this home. Is so much stress that's involved in the home buying process. It's a lot of excitement when it comes to the house hunting and the shopping process. But when it comes to the mortgage and the pre-approval, the important things that actually get you the money to be able to purchase that home, there can be a lot of stress involved in there. There can be a lot of things that have caused people to back out of the housing market. There have been a lot of things that have caused people to make decisions that were not in their best interest and bypassing decisions that may have been better decisions to make just because they let their emotions get the best of them. So when it comes to purchasing a home, first you want to be aware that this is an emotional journey that you are going on, particularly if it's your first home. But even if you're not purchasing your first home, let's say you're getting your dream home that you're going to have built, or you're looking to purchase your dream home, that's going to be an emotional journey that you're going to be on, because this is the home that you're potentially going to be living in for the rest of your life, or at least a significant portion of it. And so you're wrapped up in the emotions of wanting to have everything perfect and finding the perfect home or having the perfect home built or in the perfect location or area that you want to be in. And then there's the financing aspect involved and how much money it's going to cost you up front. And also, how much is it going to cost you monthly? Are you still working? Are you making the money that's going to allow you to be comfortable with the mortgage payment? Or are you going to have to put in some extra hours to just get yourself to a place to where you're actually comfortable paying the amount of money that it's going to cost for you to be able to afford the mortgage for that home? There's a lot of emotions wrapped up in this. So when it comes to purchasing a home, as much as you can, be aware of when you are getting excited about home buying. And I'm not saying that you should shut the excitement down, but take a period of time, especially after you found a home that you like, where you separate yourself from that emotion and you start looking at the particular home that you're looking to put an offer in on from a logical aspect. You want to start considering things like, what is my exit strategy? And when I say exit strategy, particularly if you're a first-time home buyer, you're not going to be living in this home forever. You're probably not going to be living in this home 7 or 10 years from now. So you want to look at, okay, is this home in an area where home values are increasing? Meaning, will I be able to sell this property for a profit later on down the road, 5 years, 7 years, or maybe even 10 years down the road when you're looking to sell it and maybe upgrade to the next house up? Or maybe you're looking to build a rental portfolio, so you want to keep that home as a rental property when you purchase your next one. Is this an area that is conducive for you being able to rent homes? And if so, how much are those homes that are currently being rented in that area, how much are they currently being rented for? And is that amount enough to be able to cover your mortgage payment, or at least get you close to being able to cover all of that mortgage payment? Because if you're going to keep it as a rental and buy another house and the rental amount is not going to cover your mortgage payment, that means that you're going to be responsible for covering that extra portion that the rent doesn't cover. And that could end up possibly placing another burden on you later down the road. What are the schools like in this area? Is this going to be a desirable place? Say, if I wanted to rent it out to a family, is it going to be a desirable place if, say, I wanted to rent it out to a college student? Are there colleges nearby? These are some of the logical questions that you want to start asking yourself when it comes to, should I purchase this home? These are the questions that most first-time home buyers neglect. Most first-time home buyers don't think of because, again, it's something that even growing up with a real estate background and being in a home where my parents were both real estate brokers, I still did not fully grasp everything that is emotionally involved and how that can really obscure everything that you need to be focused on when you're making the biggest purchase of your life. And so knowing what questions to ask and also allowing yourself to step back from the emotions. So when you go see that home, let's just take it from this perspective, because a lot of those emotions really do get kicked in when you're going house hunting. You've gotten that pre-approval letter and now you're house hunting. When you're searching for a home and you find it and you're like, this is perfect. This is the house I want to be in. This has everything I need. It's in the area I want it to be in. That's a good time before you decide, yep, this is the one I want to make an offer on. Take a beat and think about some of the pros and the cons of purchasing this home. And writing out a list of pros and cons can be something that's very beneficial for you in terms of allowing you to really take a more logical approach of, is this a good purchase for me to make at this time or at any time, really? Is it in a good school area? What is the age of the home? You can go to the property itself. What is the age of the roof? What is the age of the HVAC systems? What's the age of the water heater? How much lifespan do these things have left before I'm going to have to replace them? Because that's going to cost you money. And it could be thousands of dollars. In the case of replacing your roof, it could be well over $10,000. Or an HVAC system could get you close to $10,000 or more. So again, you want to know all of these things because these are not only going to affect whether or not you choose to buy this place, it's also going to affect the offer that you choose to make when going to purchase these properties. So if you get so wrapped up in the emotion of everything's so amazing and looks beautiful and whatever, and you forget about the logical side of things of, you know what, I got so starstruck with this house and I was so wanting to be a homeowner that I completely never asked myself, you know what, this property is right next to the train tracks. Trains come by here often, and that's not desirable for me. It's not going to be desirable for tenants. Or some of the other questions that you asked that you just overlooked because you were blinded by the emotional aspect of it. So you really want to take that step back from the emotions and just look at, what is it about this home and about purchasing this property that is good, that can benefit me? Is the area, again, developing? You want to look at, or at least have your real estate agent look at the development plans for the next 5 years or 10 years for that area so that you know what's being built in that area. Perhaps other new construction homes are being built. You want to know how much are those homes being built for and sold for, because that can affect the value of your home as well that you're looking to purchase. You want to know, are there new projects? Is there an amphitheater being built nearby? Or what stores or shopping complexes are being built nearby that are going to change the dynamics of an area? And is that a dynamic that you want to live near? Maybe you want to live more in the suburbs and not so much in a city area, but you move to an area that in the next 5 years is going to have a lot of development going on, which is going to make it more urban. Maybe that's something that plays into your decision as well. And that's something that you want to know from a logical standpoint, which might have you blinded if you're only looking from an emotional standpoint. So you really want to know these types of things in terms of everything about the house itself and about the surrounding area and about the maintenance and the upkeep and the cost of the maintenance and the upkeep and all of those things and the things that are nearby in terms of the schools. How far is shopping? Is it a walkable area, or is it an area where you need to have a car to be able to get around and get to where you want to go? These are things that you want to know and have the answers to. So again, everything that I've mentioned, in this episode, you really want to ask yourself all of those things. And if you have some other ideas or some other questions that pop up in your mind, again, separate yourself from the emotions and ask those questions as well. And be honest with yourself, because you need to have at least that time. And I'm not saying it has to take days, especially if you're in a fast moving market, but at least take, a couple hours to at least just think about it from a logical standpoint. Sleep on it for a night if you can, if the house is likely going to be sitting there tomorrow. Or you can, if it's going to move quickly, you can still submit the offer to get it under contract, but make sure you have a due diligence period in there, to where during that due diligence period, when you're getting all of the inspections and everything done with the house, you can also have some logical thought that's going into, is this the house that's for me? Because that can end up working in your favor hugely to take that time, or to not take that time and to just get wrapped up in the emotion and make an emotionally based decision, can end up costing you tens of thousands of dollars in repairs that were missed, or items that you should have addressed before you purchased a home, and a peace of mind that's been lost because you end up purchasing in an area not fully aware of all of the things that were going on in that area, or all of the new developments that were happening in that area, or lack of development that was happening in that area, which might be causing a decline in the housing prices for that area. All of these things are things that you really want to be cognizant of. So again, that's what I have for you. Take the time to make sure that you step away from the emotional aspect of purchasing a home and look at this from a logical perspective, because that's really where you're going to make your money. That's really where you're going to make a solid decision that's going to pay off in the long run in terms of equity in your home, but even more importantly, a happiness that you have with where you live, a peace of mind, and a joy that you have with where you live at, versus a frustration and a buyer's remorse. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate your feedback as well. If there's anything that you would like to hear about or information on, put it in the comments below and I'll check those, and we'll try to get that in a future episode as well. So thank you for taking the time to tune in. Take care. Be blessed.